What's up YouTube, Brownie here, coming to you with another video, and today we're going to do a part 2 to the Aspen's Not What You Think video that I just released, and mainly because that video got a lot more engagement than I expected, and there's a few things I want to clarify and kind of go over, and then we're going to talk about Aspen as a hero and how I would use him, and then also we'll kind of go over a rough path that you could take if you are on an LFA account and want to switch to an SSM account. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But before we get into anything, I just want to say thank you to everybody that liked, commented, subscribed, or even just watched the video at all, because yeah, that's awesome. You guys are amazing, and I just want to say thank you. So yeah, now some of the main disagreements that I saw in the comments were people were kind of not happy with what I said is mid to late game. And there's two different ways you can kind of look at what is mid to late game, and they are basically your progress in game modes and then your progress hero building wise. So you could be in the later campaign chapters and stuff like that with, 2 or 3 heroes, and that would be considered like late game progress. But, or maybe not late game, but like right on the edge of mid to late game. And then you could also say that same account is in the early game for hero building, because they only have 2 to 3 heroes. So that's what I was kind of talking about, and I'm talking about mid to late game being about a full Transcendence team, because there's just so many more options available to you for countering problems you run into in game modes if you have a full team. So yeah, you can run strategies like the Snowheart strategy, or you can run energy feed. You can make everybody tanky and run a sustained strategy, or you can, there's a lot of things you can do if you have a full team. Now, the Snowheart strategy is not really so much of a thing anymore, because, well, we now have things like Treasure Train, and we also have the Hollow bonus that people get when other people beat the Hollow chapters and stuff like that. So like all these buffs and things here, like we didn't have these back when campaign first released, and that's one thing you guys have to kind of remember about me and my account. I've been around since day one when all this stuff was released. Like when Gate of the Void was released, I was there for day one when it opened, and then same with the Void campaign. I was right away doing Void campaign and all that stuff. So I have a different perspective on it, because we didn't have near the power we had back then. So, or that we don't back then we didn't have the power we have now, is what I'm trying to say. so yeah, like back then, max damage or max attack stat was like 2 million. Like it was pretty rough, and having a full team was a huge bonus, and it really helped, because like running the Snowhearts, for example, that was like the strategy to beat a ton of campaign waves, and you basically debuff the enemy's speed as much as possible, so that your mockman or whatever damage dealer you're using could go either before the enemy or go after maybe 1 or 2 of those heroes did go, because then you're getting your mockman active off and hopefully killing half the wave with it, and then you can just kind of go from there. Now, there was also a few different strategies I used back then, and one of them actually involved Aspen with Mockman, and those two together are actually super solid. It's not a combination that I would just like straight away build Aspen and Mockman or anything, but having Aspen on your team can really be helpful for a Mockman team. At least back in the day, it helped me a ton, because what I would do is my Mockman would get an active off. I'd be using the Snowhearts. Hopefully he goes first, gets an active off, kills 1 to 3 heroes, and then Aspen would be fearing the rest of the team. and that would also energy drain them, keeping them at basics for the next round if they didn't stay feared. And it worked out beautifully. And that's going to lead me into the next point of Aspen as a hero in general. Aspen is, in my opinion, better as a utility damage support hero. So he does a little bit of damage. He helps Mockman, or whoever your damage dealer is, DTV or, ATD, Yormtum, whoever you're using. He's kind of there to help maybe finish off a hero with low health. Maybe he gets some overspill damage, gets some AoE attacks out, and then he's also doing the main reason, or doing the main thing he's on the team for, and that's fearing the enemy and keeping them to basic attacks or no attacks at all. That's how I would like to run Aspen, and that's how I think you should use him, unless you are in the super early game. If you are in the super early game, it's really hard to beat the path of LFA, SQH, PDE. Those being your first 3 Transcendence heroes is such a solid and tried and true method that you could easily utilize it and then switch into Mockman account later on. And I guess the path that I would kind of take with that is, before we get into this part, I just want to say I'm going to have a video about switching from LFA to Mockman in the future. It's going to be much more detailed. Okay, back to it. So you have LFA, you have Queen, and you have PDE, right? So I wouldn't switch when you only have those 3. I would probably build HHA next, and then once you have HHA, and he has some decent resources and stuff, so he's not super weak, I would then probably swap Aspen to Mockman. And but I wouldn't make that swap unless I could sublime his full tree. Well, maybe you wouldn't have to sublime his full tree right away, because you could leave out that last one until you are ready and have his core to do destiny upgrades. But yeah, I would switch Aspen to Mockman once you have the subs and stuff, and then I would keep Queen, I would keep PDE probably, and then HHA would be the Transcendence Tenant. If you do have a bunch of soul symbols, you could just swap PDE to Arania, and then you could build PDE as your 5th and DGN as your 6th, or vice versa. Or you could just keep PDE and then go Arania as 5th and then DGN as 6th, because once you swap to Mockman, you're gonna want to get both his Transcendence Tenants as soon as you can, but you don't want to sacrifice Queen, because you will notice when you take Queen off of your team, you will notice a difference on the incoming damage that you're taking. She lowers a lot of the incoming damage, and it's hard to remember that because she's on a lot of teams. So yeah, you can really notice the difference between not having Queen and having Queen, and you'll also notice it in the damage that you deal. So yeah, keep that in mind. You don't want to really get rid of her, because she's going to be on your account regardless. So there'll be a little bit of time where you're only going to have one Transcendence Tenant for Mockman, and then as soon as you get the second one, you're going to get a nice big damage boost, and you'll be able to do a lot more stuff. And yeah, at that 5th Transcendence hero, you can also use a puppet to complete the team and get the full team bonus in campaign and other game modes and whatnot. So yeah, that's probably the route that I would take in switching to a Mockman account, if you had those first 3 heroes. So if you're sitting with LFA, SQH, and PDE, I would build HHA, then swap Aspen to Mockman once he has the resources, and then build Arania DGN. That's probably what I would do. And I am going to be switching to having an Arania on my team soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I guess that's gonna probably be it for the video today. Basically, to summarize, I believe Aspen is overrated. He's the best at Star Expedition, obviously, and doing boss damage, but mainly he is a utility support damage dealer that isn't going to be your main damage dealer. He's just there to kind of help kill people off and then, CC and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully it clarified a few things from the last video. Maybe there's going to be a part 3. I don't know. This could be like a series where we kind of figure out the best path forward for mockman accounts from free to play all the way up to the big whales and all that stuff. So yeah, stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see more mockman stuff and all that kind of crap. So yeah, please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.